Hello everyone, this is Gage from Gondorian Smith, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another Third Age Reforged multiplayer battle replay. And this one is actually a scenario from the Spawn of Sauron Discord. The link to that will of course be down in the description below. The Spawn of Sauron Discord is basically just a Discord server where they do scenarios for Third Age Reforged. Very cool. This scenario I believe was made by Heath Horton, but I don't think he's actually playing in this game if I remember correctly. This was kind of an older scenario, but it was still very fun to play. Anyway, you can go ahead and go into the army compositions, I guess, beginning with the... Well, actually, no, we'll go... I should pause it, actually, though. We'll go into the rules maybe first, and then I will go ahead and tell you guys what the actual army comps are. You can see Carland and Arthedain already rushing forward here. But anyway, so the rules are we have got this orc encampment here being defended currently by 2 armies from the orcs of the Misty Mountains, and we've got 3 attacking good armies. We've got the Arthedain force commanded by Arcturus, we have got a army from Carland commanded by Engsfit, and then way over here we have also got a force from Rohan commanded by Meklango. And now the rules are that the good factions are of course supposed to be trying to take this orc encampment from the orcs of the Misty Mountains. Both Carland and Arthedain are allowed to use their entire full army to attack this settlement, whereas Rohan can only use half of their infantry force, I believe, as well as only 1 unit of cavalry to attack in the beginning. The rest of the cavalry from Rohan, which you can see is quite a lot, as well as the other half of his infantry, is not allowed to move in until the orc encampment is taken, because the encampment over here is kind of supposed to be taken by the good factions at first, and then way over here we've actually got 2 reinforcing evil armies, one from Mordor commanded by Eclipse 2500, and then one from Angmar commanded by me. And these 2 armies are supposed to try to retake the orc encampment once it has been taken over by the forces of the good. And also I should mention that I think we were supposed to, there was a short timer that if the good factions are able to take this orc encampment, we were supposed to allow them a little bit of time to set up and stuff, and that's just kind of how it is. But that's basically all the rules that we need to go over for now, and we can go ahead and go into the army compositions. I guess we'll just begin with my own, because it's just kind of in a block. So anyway, I've got a couple units of the Angmar halberds up here in the front, some good AP pikemen, well not pikemen, technically they're halberds of course, but they've got good reach and they are AP. I've got 2 units of the Warg Riders, should be good at dealing with most cavalry, but they are not AP off the charge. I've got 3 units of the cheap Angmar Marauders here, just some cheap light infantry kind of. Well, I guess technically not light infantry, they're heavy infantry, but they're just some, they're not super well armored. They're not good. They're not very good all around, but they can get the job done. I've got a unit of the Witcher Blackguard for my General's Bodyguard. You can see him back there. I've got 2 units of the upgraded Guardians of Carn-Dûm, as well as a unit of the upgraded Witcher Hammerguard. Something that's cool about scenarios is that the money isn't really the same. So you're going to see a lot of the armor upgrades for pretty much all of these armies, which I think is actually kind of cool. I've also got 2 units of the Goblin Trackers, just some cheap archers that can provide a lot of fire in terms of volume. I've got 1 unit of the Witcher Pikes, 1 unit of the Witcher Scourge Raiders, who are going to be seeing some nice changes in the next patch, but I won't talk about that now. I've got 2 units of the Orc Fellers for some cheap AP. Back here I've got a unit of the Gundabad Guard for some Spearmen, and then I've also got 1 unit of the Trolls of Gundabad, as well as 1 unit of the Trolls of Angmar. And over here we can go and see the other reinforcing army, which is going to be, like I said before, Mordor commanded by Eclipse 2500. He's got a couple units of the Mordor Heavy Maulers here in his front line. I believe he also has 3 units of Mordor infantry in the second line, as well as a couple units of Mordor halberds in the front, so some nice AP there as well. He's got a unit of the very cost-effective Orc Javelins. Over here he's got a unit of the Troll Drummers to provide some morale support, and he's got, of course, the Olaghai, one of the best troll units in the game currently. So it's got a unit of the Sauron's Will here, a unit of the Minas Morgul Chosen, as well as a unit of the upgraded Temple Executioners. In addition to this, he has 2 units of the Black Legion of Barad-dûr, as well as 2 units of the Moranon Archers. For his cavalry, he's got a unit of the Melkor's Chosen, which I believe is, yes, where his general is, as well as a unit of the Númenórean Lancers. So we can now go over here to the defending armies, or currently defending armies. That may change shortly. Which is going to be, the first of which is going to be the Orcs of the Misty Mountains, commanded by Froggy. He's got some Heavy Goblin Archers back here, as well as some Mountain Uruk Blades. He's got some White Uruk Fearmongers, as well as, I believe, a unit of, the Goblin King's Bodyguard here for his general. You can see Azog there. And then Froggy has got some more Mountain Uruk Blades, some Heavy Goblin Halberds. I believe he's got a couple units of crossbows, as well as another unit here of the Heavy Goblin Archers. You can see the other defender here, over here is going to be Tundra's Fox. I'm just going to kind of mix their army comps together, I guess. He's got a unit of the Mountain Trolls, as well as a unit of the Cave Troll Drummers up there, which are going to be extremely useful in this kind of a siege. Because the Misty Mountains, of course, don't have great morale, so these Troll Drummers will really be able to help out with that. He's got his own unit of the Goblin King's Bodyguard. He's got some Mountain Orc Berserkers hiding in here. He's got some AP Heavy Goblin Spears, going to be very good against most of the Carlin and Arthedain roster. Then over here he's got a long line of both Heavy Goblin Infantry backing up some units of the Heavy Goblin Halberd, so some AP as well as some infantry in there to provide some more support. He's got some more Heavy Goblin Infantry up here. He's got some Heavy Goblin Archers as well as some more Heavy Goblin Infantry, and maybe something else because I don't know. But yeah, over here we've got some more units, we've got some more spears, we've got a couple units, I believe, of the Black Urks of the Mountains Shock Infantry. He's got some more Heavy Goblin Infantry, and over here on the Nether Hill, we've got more Heavy Goblin Infantry. So, of course, a lot of Goblins here today, as well as some Heavy Goblin Archers, and some more Heavy Goblin Halberds. So that'll pretty much do it for the army comps, although I believe there may be a unit of Blackback Mountain Berserkers from Tundra's Fox hidden somewhere around here. Tundra's Fox also has one unit of the Ward Riders. So we can now go ahead and go into the army comps of the attackers, the first of which will be Arthedain, commanded by Arcturus. Now, Arcturus, I believe, has 2 units of the Arthedain Marksmen with their armor upgrades, and I believe he's got like maybe 2 or 3 of the Arthedain Men-at-Arms fully upgraded, at least with armor. I'm not sure about the attack upgrades. He's also got down here a unit of the Fornost Erain Defenders. Some Spearmen should be okay, I guess, against the Wargs, but for the most part, they're probably not going to do super great against most of that Goblin roster. He's got some more Fornost Erain Defenders. He's got some Troll Slayers hidden around here. He's also got over here some good cavalry. He's got a unit of the Knights of Numinos, a unit of the Arthedain Sergeants, as well as a unit of the Royal Court of House Emlaith for his general's bodyguard. So some actually some pretty scary cavalry. Not so much the Arthedain Sergeants, but definitely the other 2 units are very, very scary. Back here he's got, it looks like 2 units of the upgraded Arthedain Pikemen. He's got a unit of the Wardens of the North. He's got a unit of the Numinos Gate Guards, as well as a couple units of the dismounted Fornost Erain Knights, who are of course shock infantry that are not AP. And he's got a couple units of the dismounted Knights of Numinos. Now, pretty much do it for his army comp. Like I said, he does have maybe a couple hidden units around here. I know he has some Troll Slayers. We will see those later in the battle. Over here we have got Carlin, commanded by Engsfitz. He's actually got 2 units of the Wardens of Turn Gorthad. He's got a number of these Miniscrithlin Swordsmen, as well as Miniscrithlin Archers. He's also got, I believe, only 1 unit of Miniscrithlin Sharpshooters, but he's also got, yeah, back here, another crossbow, that being the Minotaur Roman Guardians. He's got Miniscrithlin Spearmen, Tharbad Warhammers. He's also got actually a Catapult, and I believe he also has, Ironborn Axemen, as well as some cheap AP. But he's actually got 2 units, I believe. Yes, 2 units of the Dunedain Captains, as well as 2 units of the Tharbad Warhammers. So actually a very, here's the second unit of Tharbad Warhammers. It's actually a very, very elite army from Carlin. He's also got a unit of the Dunedain Commanders with their armor upgrades, it looks like. And he's got, his Miniscrithlin Sharpshooters as well. That'll pretty much do it for his army comp, except he also has a unit of the Hearthguard of Amansul here for his general's bodyguard. We can now go over here to Rohan, who, like I said, can only use half of their infantry force and 1 of their cavalry units in the beginning, but then can use the rest once the evil forces are going to try to retake the encampment. His front line consists, I believe, of 4 units of Westmark infantry. That's actually Westmark Spearmen as well, so he's got 2 units of Westmark Infantry, rather, as well as 2 units of Westmark Spears, and then another unit of Rittermark Spearmen down here, so just some cheaper, lower-tier Spearmen. He's also got I think 1 unit of Rittermark Archers, but back here he's got some more scary stuff. He's got another unit of Westmark Infantry, 2 units of the very scary Westmark Marshals AP Shock Infantry. He's got a unit of the Shield Maidens, as well as a unit of the Eastmark Axemen, not so great, and neither of the Rittermark Axemen, but at least the Rittermark Axemen are AP, but they are shock infantry, so they don't have great armor. Well, they don't have great armor, plus because they're shock infantry, they can get shot down pretty easily. He's also got a unit of the Meduseld Guard here, some very good javelins, and then he's got his bunch of cavalry as well. I believe he has maybe 1 or 2 units of the Rittermark Cavalry. No, just 1 unit of Rittermark Cavalry, just some cheap Lancers. He's got a unit of the 1st Marshal's Bodyguard for his general. He's got a unit of the Red Shield of Erkenbrand for another Horse Archer unit. He's also got 2 units, I believe, of the Eastmark Horse Archers. So a lot of Horse Archers here from Rohan. He's also got a unit of the Sons of Errol, just going to run around, kind of. And he's got another unit of Eastmark Riders down here. So again, some cheap Lancers that are very quick. But that'll pretty much do it for the army comp, so we can go ahead and go straight into the battle itself. I'm going to put it down back to a normal speed, of course, if I let me, and then we'll get over here where the fight does begin in the fullest, at least the quickest. If we can ever get over there, that is, of course. For some reason, my camera is kind of slow right now. However, that should be of no big issue. You can see Arthedain rushing forward first, but again, they don't want to just rush straight into the infantry fight because there's a lot of AP goblins around here that they need to be careful of. So what they're instead going to do is be trying to skirmish it down. You can see we've got the Arthedain marksman back there, probably going to begin firing pretty soon here. You can already see the Tundra's Fox's heavy goblin archers are already firing as it is. Arthedain, our man-at-arms, actually going to rush maybe straight in. Against the heavy goblin infantry, they will win very easily. But against the rest of the Heavy Goblin roster, they might not do so great, because there's a lot of AP halberds as well as spears that they will definitely struggle against. You can also see there's the Fearmongers around here as well. Some very good AP halberds. So yeah, they are going to sit back a little bit, at least in the beginning, try to skirmish down some of these goblins first, not wanting to take too many casualties right away, because the attackers are kind of in an interesting situation. They have to try to take the settlement, of course, but they also have to do it with taking minimal casualties, otherwise they won't be able to fend off the reinforcing armies from Mordor and Angmar, of course. They have to be very, very careful. And out here we've got Tundra's Fox with a unit of his rather expensive halberds out in the front. Probably not the best call, because I mean they will definitely be able to shred through the Arthedain men-at-arms, but this prevents a very, very good target for the Arthedain marksmen. Meanwhile, we've actually got some cavalry from Engsvitz charging into some cheap goblin infantry from Froggy here that have just come out of hiding. And yeah, Dunedain commanders, some decent lancers, and against the heavy goblin, or against the standard goblin infantry, they will get a decent amount of kills. You can see this hill is very well defended. However, there are no troll drummers over here, so this kind of hill may be susceptible to some morale shocks. We'll just have to see how that goes. And again, the goblin infantry don't have any bonuses against cavalry, so Engsvitz is just going to charge right back in here with his lancers, just try to get as many kills as possible. But he does have to be a little bit careful of getting surrounded here. There's also a lot of arrows being fired in here by the heavy goblin archers, and the Dunedain commanders aren't super greatly armored. I mean, they've got their armor upgrades and they've got a shield. But they still don't have a magnificent armor or a very good shield value, so you have to be careful with them. Heavy Goblin Spears rushing over here. These guys are going to be better at dealing with that cavalry, although they are taking some skirmish fire from the Ministrithlan archers, looks like, that are back there from Engsvitz. And over here, with the infantry fight has actually begun. You can see Heavy Goblin infantry is trying to stand their ground against Arthedain men-at-arms as well as some Arthedain pikemen, and they will struggle in this fight very, very heavily. Thankfully, though, because these troll drummers are not advancing, these Heavy Goblin infantry will probably end up actually fighting to the death. They probably won't rout until they have like very, very few men remaining. You can see some White Earth Fearmongers dead on the ground, so it looks like Tundras did decide to retreat them because they were taking some unnecessary skirmish fire. As you can see, they're back here down to 131 men remaining. And again, because Tundra's Fox only has one unit of Warg Riders, he's going to have to be very, very careful when using them, because there is actually a lot of pretty scary Arthedain cavalry, so he's going to have to be very careful how he uses these guys. You can see that Tundra's Fox rather is actually going to be committing his mountain trolls into the fight right away, and that's actually not a bad idea at all, because the Arthedain men-at-arms and the pikemen can't really deal with trolls that well, because none of them are AP, of course, and of course the pikemen are polearms, so it's not going to be super great at dealing with trolls. And granted, these are, I believe, some of the weakest trolls in the game, but still, they're going to be able to get a decent amount of kills, I think. Although you can see another unit of Arthedain men-at-arms has been committed to the fight. And this unit of Arthedain men-at-arms, though, is actually thinking about routing, interestingly enough. You can see most of this Heavy Goblin infantry is dead, but like I said, it's not going to end up routing, actually, because of those troll drummers. And you can see a lot of the Arthedain ammo is being used up right here. You can see they really did not want these Heavy Goblin archers to fire for very long. There's actually only 37 of them remaining. A unit of Heavy Goblin Spears being committed to the fight here. These guys are going to be able to do much better against all this armored Arthedain men, because they are AP. We've also got some pretty scary shock infantry going around on the flank, which again is going to be very, very good at dealing with most of the Arthedain roster. Ooh, you can see the spears kind of rushing forward here, just kind of pushing straight through. If you'll excuse me, this is getting a little bit loud. Not too bad, but it's getting a wee bit loud. But yeah, Arthedain here may end up struggling a little bit. You can see a number of their pikemen are going down. There's not a ton of men-at-arms around here. I mean, there are, I believe, 2 units, but the first unit is not really doing too well. And over here you can see some actually really aggressive play here from Tundra's Fox, and honestly I really like it, because I think he knows that he will not be able to defend this area like indefinitely. Like eventually this encampment is going to be taken, but because he knows this, he's going to be playing super, super aggressive and just trying to cause as much damage as possible, so that way it makes it easier for the reinforcing armies to come back around and take this settlement. You can see Heavy Goblin Infantry and Heavy Goblin Halberds, a very, very good duo here against the Arthedain men-at-arms. There are some Peacekeepers back there to help out. And here we've got the Warg Riders fighting against some Arthedain Sergeants, as well as now some Knights of Anumnas. But here comes some reinforcements from Tundra's Fox in the form of some Goblin Infantry, as well as some Heavy Goblin Infantry. Arthedain Sergeants took about 20 losses. The Wargs did take not as many losses as I thought, and you can see actually a number of those Knights of Anumnas going down as well. And ooh, if the Knights of Anumnas are not careful, they may actually end up getting caught here by some Heavy Goblin Spears, who of course do have a bonus against cavalry. see more of those Knights of Numenus going down. They're actually shaken right now, wavering. So these Knights of Numenus not really looking too good right now from Arturos. Going to be able to escape, but again, they did take a lot of unnecessary losses. Again, some very, very aggressive defensive play here from Tundra's Fox, but I actually really, really like it. Down here, it looks like most of the mountain trolls are dead, but they did a decent job. You can see this hill is just a brutal fight. Meanwhile, over here, we've got some Dunedain commanders charging into the goblin infantry, going to butcher them. And unfortunately for Froggy, he is starting to struggle here, but he is facing both against Carlin as well as Lango's forces from Rohan here. So it's not really looking super great. You can see there's also some elites in here. There goes a bunch of heavy goblin halberds because these Westmark spearmen kind of exploited this gap here. And just like that, I don't think this defense from Froggy is going to hold for very long. You can see Rohan just streaming through this gap in the line there. These heavy goblin infantry are probably going to end up routing because there are no cave troll drummers to give them some morale support. Here comes some elite pikes. And again, there's 2 units of Tharbad Warhammers as well as 2 units of Dunedain captains around here as well. Black Urks of the Mountain is going to be doing a little bit better against some of these Carlin units, but again, it's still going to be a struggle. And there's that catapult from Engsvit's firing over here. Actually, getting a little bit of friendly fire, but this hit over here was actually a nice hit right into those heavy goblin spears. And again, it's just been a really brutal fight over here so far. You can see this Arthedain line has been reinforced by these peacekeepers. But again, the halberds doing a really nice job at cutting down some of these heavily armored Arthedain forces. And it's looking pretty grim over here. Honestly, for both sides. There's that catapult firing still. Ooh, getting some decent hits. Although, ooh, actually hammered into a lot of those Dunedain commanders, unfortunately enough. Meanwhile, there's the Dunedain Troll Slayers. And again, look at this very, very aggressive play from Tundra's Fox here. He's just rushing forward here, trying to take out as many of the Arthedain assets as possible. Dunedain Troll Slayers at 54. They're taking some skirmish fire, and here comes some Goblin Infantry to try to stop them from firing their javelins. Arturos is having to commit a unit of his dismounted Knights of Numenus over here against some spears and some Goblin Light Infantry, because you can see this unit of Arthedain men-at-arms is not going to hold for very much longer. Meanwhile, the Ward Riders are somewhere around here. I saw them. Oh, yep, they're still right here. I believe they were actually rear-charging this Arthedain line here, but unfortunately, Tundra's Fox losing a little bit of micro there, and these spears are maybe going to be able to catch these Ward Riders here. But again, you can see these Arthedain men-at-arms really not doing too hot, and if there's another cycle charge, it'll probably end up routing those Arthedain men-at-arms. Knights, oh, here come the Knights of Numenus, though, ready to catch these Ward Riders, although there's only 13 Knights of Numenus left. So those Knights of Numenus really not doing too well. I think the troll... Oh, there's actually Dunedain Rangers over here from Arturos as well. There might even be some Dunedain Rangers from Engsvit's, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, over here, things not really looking super great for Frog. You can see he's trying to do his best, but he's basically just kind of getting overwhelmed here. He's got a nice halberd line, but unfortunately it's probably going to end up getting outflanked here as soon as these heavy goblin infantrymen rout. Yeah, not looking super great here for Frog. You can see the Rohirrim and the Carlin forces just rushing through here, doing a really nice job. But over here, you can see in the center, it's still looking it's looking pretty even. You can see Tundra's Fox had to commit his White Ark Fearmongers, and again, he's just trying to be causing as much damage as humanly possible to all of these Arthedain forces and pretty much all of these attacking forces, just to try to give the other armies a better chance once it comes to trying to retake the actual Orc encampment. Over here we've got the Mountain Orc Berserkers here. They're AP shock infantry, not with much armor, but they do have 2 HP. And they're going to be doing really, really well against the Fornos Terrain Defenders, as well as probably even the dismounted Knights of Numenus that are over here. There's Heavy Goblin Spears. They're going to be able to hold, and they'll be able to do a little bit of damage, but probably not a ton, because they are the dismounted Knights of Numenus are, of course, 2 HP, Sword and Shield Infantry. It looks like all these Ward Riders were unfortunately taken out, although the Knights of Numenus are now down to only 5 men remaining, and the Royal Court is still very healthy, but the Knights not looking too good. Now here comes some more dismounted Knights, probably going to be committed maybe over here against these Heavy Goblin Halberds that have just been kind of freed up. Because you can see this battle line right here was won by Tundra's Fox. And here comes basically the last of Tundra's Fox's forces. Again, he doesn't have a ton left over. He's going to commit his Blackback Man Berserkers, 24 skill, AP with multiple HP, and unlike most elites that only have like 63 men in the unit, this unit actually has 82. So this unit is absolutely terrifying in melee. They're also super quick, they can hide anywhere. This is just an all-around beast unit. It is super, super, super good. And against the dismounted Knights of Numenus, the Blackback Man Berserkers will, in my opinion, probably win this very, very easily. Although there still are a lot of other units that can help out. You can see actually, you know, the dismounted Forest Array Knights coming over to help out these dismounted Knights right now. So probably these blackbacks will struggle just because they're going to be so outnumbered now, but still. You can see actually some Heavy Goblin Halberd trying to go around the flank, maybe try to surround the last of these Arthedain forces who are actually thinking about routing, but unfortunately they were stopped by Engsvitz's forces, both some Minuscule archers that are out of ammo as well as some Dunedain commanders. And that is because you can see there's actually some Dunedain captains coming over as well. The Wardens of the North are getting in the melee, and that is because Froggy is pretty much done for at this point. You can see Cardlin and Rohan were pretty much able to wipe him out. You can see he's trying to hold for as long as possible, but his halberd line is now completely surrounded. He's got some units around here, but it's just been really chaotic, and looks like it's not going to turn out in the favor of Froggy here. But again, that's kind of to be expected. He's got his Onyev Mountain Orc Berserkers here, and the Mountain Orc Berserkers will be able to just chew their way through these Riddermark Spearmen here. The Mountain Orc Berserkers are AP, and they're just going to be able to absolutely butcher these poor Riddermark Spearmen here. Although the Riddermark Spears are being given a little bit of support here from the Riddermark Archers, but I believe took a bunch of losses from these Heavy Goblin Archers. We've also got Froggy's Heavy Goblin Crossbows back here. The Goblin King's Bodyguard down to 43, and I believe that is because you can see some Sons of Errol down here. They charged into the back of Froggy's general's unit. Thankfully for Froggy not killing the general, but still. You can actually see a lot of those Sons of Errol actually went down. Looks like 7 of them. That's actually a pretty decent amount of that very elite unit going down. But over here, you can see a lot of Tundra's Fox's forces going down. Actually, you can see here's the Sons of Errol right now, down to only 16. So the cavalry taking a lot of losses. They're charging into the Heavy Goblin Halberds because they're wavering, going to try to rout them. But it looks like they're maybe not going to rout them right away. And if they stay in melee for too long, they will lose some more troops. You can see there goes another one. But yeah, so Arturos, yeah, basically just Arthur and Cardlin and now Rohan as well. Going to be able to start surrounding Tundra's Fox's beleaguered forces. And it's going to basically be the end for Tundra's Fox and Froggy. And so this encampment will be taken by the forces of good for now, at least. You can see Tundra's Fox is going to have to commit his troll drummers as well into the fight. And I don't actually know what happened to the Blackback Mountain Berserkers. I believe they were all taken out. Oh no, they're actually still fighting. There's actually still 58 of them. And they're doing a decent job against the Dismounted Knights of Numas, as well as the Fornasti Rain Defenders. Or Fornasti Rain Knights, rather, sorry. And yeah, if it was just the Blackbacks versus the Dismounted Knights, I would put my money on the Blackbacks every time. But yeah, so far it looks like this is going to be kind of the last. Yep, there goes some Heavy Goblin Halberds there, so it looks like this is going to pretty much be the end of the Goblins for now. But there are still some fighting units around here, it looks like. So it's not completely over, but I mean, it's getting close. You can see that the attackers have got elites all around. There's also, yeah, back here there's still more fighting going on. It looks like all of the Dunedain commanders have pretty much been taken out, but yeah, they're flooding. The attackers are now flooding into the actual encampment itself. This will pretty much be the end of the Goblins. And once the Goblins are all dealt with, once every defending Goblin is dealt with, is when we start, I believe, like a 2 or 3 minute timer, maybe even 5 minutes, to allow the good guys to set up a defense, and then the 2 reinforcing armies will be allowed to move in. Also, if you're wondering why the cavalry is moving around currently, that's because there was a little bit of confusion about the rules. There was a little bit of confusion on whether Rohan was allowed to move the rest of his army just whenever the attack was basically dealt with, or when all of the Goblins were dead. So there's a little bit of confusion there, but it didn't really end up being of much issue in all honesty. But yeah, over here you can see the Blackback Mountain Berserkers getting surrounded now by the other unit of Dismounted Knights of Numinos. There's only one Dunedain Troll Slayer in here as well. Might actually get taken out pretty quickly here. Nope, he actually killed one of the Blackbacks. Very good for him. But yeah, so far the Arthedain forces in particular have taken a ton of losses. Tundra's Fox, I actually really liked his aggressive play here with his defense. You can see a lot of dead Arthedain forces just pretty much all over the place, as well as of course a bunch of goblins, but that's to be expected in all honesty. And over here you can see Froggy's last stand. He's got some units kind of just everywhere, kind of spread out. He's got some halberds that are getting completely surrounded. Over here he's got his bodyguard. He's got some crossbows trying to retreat and get some more shots off. That'll pretty much be it, just as his general is now dead. Those heavy goblin halberds that were surrounded are probably going to instantly rout. Yep, they just went ahead and routed. And these heavy goblin crossbows will probably follow suit in just a bit here, once they actually start getting attacked in melee, which is currently happening. These Minister and Spearmen are actually thinking about routing as well. They are exhausted. They've been fighting the whole time. Ooh, getting some volleys off actually right at the very end. Despite being attacked, they're actually able to get some volleys off right into these Wardens of Turn Gorthad, and that's very good because these pikemen are very elite, and I believe there's still a second unit of them that's completely healthy. Yep, there's Minotaur Roman Guardians back here, as well as another unit of the Wardens of Turn Gorthad. Yeah, this one hasn't even fought at all yet. And both units of these crossbows haven't fired at all. The catapult has used a lot of its ammo, but it definitely still has ammo left for the 2 reinforcing armies. You can go ahead. And I think I'll go ahead and speed it up, because this is basically just going to be the last stand of the goblins for now. You can see it, yeah, the Raremark Spearmen took a ton of losses here to these Mountain Orc Berserkers, but it looks like over time the Berserkers will lose that fight. Yeah, over here the last of the goblins getting cut down, so it's pretty much just going to be now where the defenders kind of set up, and then there's going to be a long march from the 2 reinforcing armies. There goes Tundus Fox's general. That'll pretty much be the end of his defense. But yeah, because the 2 reinforcing armies are kind of far away, it'll actually be kind of a long march, unfortunately. But yeah, I actually set up all of my entire army in the trees here because I didn't really want the attackers to see what my army had until I, was actually on the march, which is why most of my army is currently hidden in these trees here. But we'll take a look back over here for now. You can see Rohan moving back to where he was originally with the rest of his army because the goblins are not completely dead quite yet, although it will be very shortly. You can see the last of these heavy goblin crossbows trying to hold their ground here, but they're going to get cut down pretty quickly in all honesty. Over here, looks, yeah, Tundus Fox has been defeated. And again, there's still these 2 units of Dunedain and Captains still pretty healthy. There's, I believe, still 2 units of Tharbad Warhammers around here somewhere. There's still 12 of the Sons of Errol, but both these Sons of Errol and the Knights of Numaus took a ton of losses early on, which is actually very, very good for us. And by us, I just mean the evil team, because I was one of the reinforcing armies, of course. We've still got the Royal Court of House Amlath, though, over here. And this is the General's Bodyguard unit, so if we're able to take this out, and maybe cause the death of the Arthedain General, it'll probably lead to a lot of routing among the few remaining forces of Arthedain. Because Arthedain, in all honesty, doesn't have a ton left. I mean, they've got a decent amount. They've got some elites still left over. They've got their dismounted knights as well as some Wardens of the North. They've got some scattered units here and there, but they don't have a ton left in all honesty. So I got those 3 Knights of Numaus running around as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and speed it up here at least to 2 times, just to see what's really going on here. I believe this is basically just where the defenders, well, the now defenders, the good team is now going to be defending here, of course, where the good team is going to be setting up their defense of this encampment that they just took. And then we will begin marching our way across here towards the actual encampment to try to attack them. But our advance will actually be kind of slowed because I do believe, if I remember correctly, that the Rohan forces do try to harry us as we advance to the encampment. Of course, going to try to they're going to try to inflict as many casualties on our reinforcing armies as possible here. And see, now that all the goblins are dead, Rohan is now allowed to move his force. He's going to maybe be advancing. Yeah, he's going to be advancing with his infantry, I believe, just straight into the encampment, but I believe he leaves his cavalry out here in the open where it is, of course, going to be the most effective. And he's got, for the Rohan cavalry, they don't have a lot of scary lancers left over. I mean, they've got the 16 or 12, rather, Sons of Errol, and they've got that First Marshal's bodyguard that hasn't fought at all. But most of their cavalry is actually horse archers, or really, really kind of low-tier lancers. So their cavalry isn't super, super scary. Definitely the most scariest things were the First Marshal's bodyguard, which of course hasn't fought at all, and these Sons of Errol over here, who have actually taken a ton of losses. So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. But again, with all the horse archers, both my cavalry being just the 2 units of wargs, as well as the Melkor's Chosen and the Numenorean Lancers, will probably take a decent amount of losses just because of how many horse archers Rohan actually does have. You can see it's going to be a little bit of a slower approach now. And actually, what's this over here? Okay, I was like, are they rushing out at the, no, it's just some Misgirthland Spearmen here that are routing. They're going to unfortunately route right into the entire army of Angmar. So, probably not the best decision by these 3, maybe not the wisest spearmen in the world, as they're now going to be rushing headlong into the entire Angmar army. Let's see if they are able to make it there or if they'll turn aside. Hopefully they'll turn aside. Like, for their sakes anyway, I hope they turn aside. Oh, they're taking actually some skirmish right now. I believe I accidentally left my goblin trackers on fire at will. So there was a wasted volley by me, unfortunately. But I did turn them off that for now, which is good. Only 2 spearmen. Come on, guys. Don't rush the whole army. Please don't do it. Okay, good. They turned around. Good for them. Because that was not, of course, going to be a very wise decision. But yeah, over here, again, they're just going to be kind of setting up their defense. And it looks like they're actually not going to be defending out here. I mean, it might be kind of nice. It would have maybe been a little bit nice to defend out here on where we've got this nice hilled position. But it looks like they're instead going to be defending in there. Kind of like in the actual encampment, and then also out here on this kind of big open plain where they can actually, yeah, you can see they've set up their catapult on that hill there. They also will probably set up whatever archers they have left on that hill as well, because they've got a very nice firing position, of course. So they're not going to be defending up here, they're instead going to be defending a little bit further back. You can see all the cavalry going to the back of the defense, but I believe he does pull it back out here. But yeah, you can see there's still these 20 Riddermark archers here, the only foot archers that Rohan was able to bring to the field. And I believe they still have ammo, because they've got their bows out, so any advancing forces will be shot at by these 20 Riddermark archers. I believe it'll only be actually 18 arrows, though, because 2 of these guys are technically officers. But yeah, there goes the cavalry, back out into the open, because they're not going to be of any use in the actual encampment. But because they've basically stacked all their cavalry out here, with a few few exceptions that are the Royal Court and maybe some Sons of Aerol, we will actually be able to commit our cavalry over on this side if we want to, and just kind of cause a bunch of havoc out there. But again, that's only if we want to. So we'll have to kind of see what the defenders are going to be trying to do. You can see they've got some units set up in the streets. Looks like some, yeah, primarily spearmen as well as maybe some pikes. Yeah, there's Westmark spearmen, Riddermark spearmen. They've got more spears, and they've got some pikes as well. So yeah, they've got spears and pikes in the actual encampment just to try to slow down the attackers. Over here, we've actually got some kind of standard infantry. It looks like there are some pikemen, but there's a lot of Minisgrithland swordsmen. There's the Aaron-born axemen, some Arthedain marksmen that are out of ammo. They've got the 2 units of Dunedain captains still, as well as the 2 units of Tharbad warhammers. So definitely still a lot of elites left over from the good team. The Wardens of Turngorthad, Minotaur Roman Guardians, and there's all of Arthedain's forces, as well as Rohan now coming in with the last of his infantry. And yeah, there's all the cavalry setting up out there, of course. Going to be trying to cause as much damage as possible. And you can see that we are actually now beginning our advance. So you can see kind of moving forward in column formation, which is probably not the best idea, but because I'm not really worrying about any attack right now, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Especially because I've got pikes and spears on either on the flanks to protect from any cavalry charges, as well as trolls. You can see Mordor moving forward as well. We're going to not be attacking like from the side over here, where all the cavalry is. We want to kind of avoid the cavalry for as long as possible. We're instead going to move our entire armies over here instead. And I believe Mordor kind of sets up right around here, and then I kind of set up more in the open out over here. So we're just going to be attacking pretty much just headlong right into these defending forces. Kind of a little paddock there. It looks like I was kind of wondering what that was, but it looks like some kind of paddock maybe. Yeah, I've got some wargs running around as well because we did see that there was some cavalry heading over towards Mordor. So he did ask for some help in terms of actual cavalry, so I'm going to be sending over some wargs as well as I believe 1 unit of trolls. I believe I send over my armored trolls, yes, the trolls of Angmar, because if any horse archers decide to shoot at them, I won't really do anything at all because the trolls of Angmar have those huge shields plus some good armor and of course a bunch of hit points. But here we've got the Riders of the Fold, some horse archers, going to begin firing at these Numenorean lancers. It's going to try to put them in loose formation here to mitigate the losses. And here I've got my Warg Riders. Unfortunately, I was doing some other things here, and I was going to be trying to charge after these horse archers. Of course, not going to catch them. They're going to be able to retreat, and I don't want to continue the chase because I don't want to take unnecessary losses. So I will be trying to pull back here. I'm going to take a few losses because the wargs don't have great armor, but they do, I believe, have a couple hit points to protect them at least a little bit from arrows. Got my trolls as well, and I'm not really scared of pretty much any of this Rohan cavalry over here in terms of my actual trolls, because the horse archers won't really do anything. The only thing I have to be careful of is getting some charges from the lancers, but because that's the Rohan general, I don't really expect to get charged by that because he would not really want to lose his general, of course, this early on. But we'll go ahead and look over here because we got some more cavalry. We've actually got the Royal Court of House Amleth, the General Xena of Arcturus of Arthedain, as well as some Knights of Anumnos over here. And you can see I was trying to kind of make them go away here with my trolls of Gundabad. I'm going to slow it down back to normal speed because I didn't want to take any losses. But you can see, unfortunately, my trolls were kind of stuck out here, and I just couldn't get them back behind my pikes in time, so I just had to basically kind of counter-charge, and that was not the best move, because you can see I did lose 3 of my trolls, but again, I just kind of had to do it. And you can see that if we're able to get stuck in with these Royal Court, we're actually able to cut down a decent amount of them. But again, that's a very unfortunate loss for me right there. And I've got my pikemen over here as well as some Warg Riders, but currently, you can see the Royal Court is actually going to be retreating for the moment. But I will be continuing to give chase because I want to try to kill this general right here. Because if I'm able to kill the general, that'll lead to a lot of routing among the defenders, which is going to be very, very, very good. And because there's no archers really left over to worry with, I believe there's still Rainiers, there's still the 2 crossbows, and I believe the Hearthguard. But because there's no actual kind of standard foot archers over here in this defense, I'm actually going to be able to just kind of chase these Royal Court around with my wargs pretty much for as long as I want to. But anyway, we'll go back over here, because again, this is just kind of a long skirmish fight, kind of. You can see the Melkor is chosen, and the Lancers kind of running around trying to avoid the horse archers. We also got the Olag High over here. These guys, honestly, probably could chase down the enemy cav pretty easily. I've got my own Warg Riders as well as my own trolls over here as well. So this is kind of a scary, in all honesty, this is kind of a scary thing to try to attack with cavalry, because there's a lot of good anti-cav units around here. But again, with all the horse archers, they can kind of just sit back, which would be probably the best thing to use, to try to sit back and shoot arrows, which is what they're currently doing. So we'll have to see if that works out for them. You can see Mordor kind of getting his lines together here, just trying to march around. I've also got all my forces kind of set up here, and I do have to be kind of careful with that catapult. Currently, I'm out of range of it, but still, I'm kind of blobbed up here, so I do have to be a little bit careful. Meanwhile, we still got the Royal Court of House Amlath and the 2 Knights of Numinos running around here trying to cause a little bit of worry to my army. And I've got my wargs, and I've got my pikemen, and I've got my spearmen around here as well to try to protect my lines from those lancers, because I do not want to take unnecessary losses before I actually engage in the main infantry fight. Royal Court's still running around here, and we were actually kind of hoping he would keep going forward here, because as you can tell, if he goes forward too much to maybe try to go after Mordor, I will be able to follow him with my Warg Riders around this way, and then pull my other Warg Rider unit this way, and hopefully be able to try to kind of sandwich him here, but we'll have to just see if that actually ends up working out. So I'm going to be trying to do that right now. Going to be chasing after him with my Warg Riders. And unfortunately, though, my Warg Riders over here, as well as Mordor's cavalry, is a little bit too far away to kind of help out. So it looks like Mordor may end up taking a pretty nasty charge here from the Royal Court. Yeah, going into some Mordor archers, maybe? Nope, going to avoid them. Oh no, they're going to go straight for these Mordor archers instead. So going straight to those Mordor archers, getting a decent amount of kills here, but again, I've got my wargs right back there. They're getting kind of stopped by the Knights of Numinos, but I'll pull off my trolls to deal with the last 2 knights, whereas I'll use my wargs to try to get after this Royal Court. I can see those. There go the Knights of Numinos by my trolls. I've still got 9 of them left, but again, kind of unfortunate that I took those 3 casualties to my trolls early on. Royal Court here, again, we're trying to kind of pincer them here. You can see my wargs on either side, but unfortunately, my wargs are a little bit too slow here. It looks like the Royal Court is going to be able to escape this trap, which is kind of unfortunate. They're going to be able to go all the way back over there where they want to. Meanwhile, though, the Rohan cavalry is still kind of just back there. They're trying to get behind our lines and just try to cause a bit of damage. But we're going to try to go ahead and rush into the fight kind of as quickly as possible, because we want to make the Rohan cavalry useless. Because if we get in the actual encampment, the Rohan cavalry is going to be very, very difficult to use effectively, unless it's over here. But in the actual encampment, it's going to be really, really hard to use their cav once we actually get into the infantry fight. So we're going to go ahead and try to get in there as quickly as possible. You can see Mordor rushing forward here. He's taking some arrows, but again, not too many, because there's not a ton of foot archers left over. It looks like this unit still has some ammo, but it'll probably be running out pretty shortly. Yep, I think that was just their last volley, actually. So yeah, you can see Mordor setting up here. I'm not going to get quite into the infantry fight just yet, because I am unfortunately a little bit too far behind to support him. So we're not going to be advancing quite yet. Plus, his entire force needs to kind of set up as well. You can see the catapult firing in here as well, but it's with non-fire ammo. A little bit more accurate, but a little bit less damaging as well. And yeah, I'm trying to protect myself from that cavalry as much as possible. You can see I'm going to be moving forward now with most of my army here. I've got my 3 units of Angmar Marauders as well as my 2 units of Halberds. And over here, you can see that because of our advance, Arcturus has kind of stopped paying attention to his Royal Court of House Amlath. You can see they're kind of just sitting here in the forest all by their lonesome. And look at this general right here, right at the perfect angle. If my warriors were to charge here, there's a pretty decent chance of the general going down. But yeah, thankfully, because we were about to begin our assault and moving our entire armies forward, the micro of this unit was kind of lost by Arcturus here. So you'll have to see if this works out in favor of the evil forces or not. You can see, oh, it's getting close, it's getting close. You can see the lances going down, but it's too late. My Warg Riders were able to catch this Royal Court. You can see the general surrounded by Warg Riders on all sides, and because, yep, there goes the general. Because the Warg Riders are melee cav, they're going to be able to butcher the Royal Court of House Amlaeth, and there goes most of that unit here. I've got my trolls as well, and Arcturus is noticing this, but unfortunately it is too late to save his general, as well as about half of that entire unit. So that's definitely very, very good for us attackers, because we will now be able to rout a lot of the Arthedain forces if because this general is now dead. I'm going to continue to give chase, because even 14 Lancers are still pretty deadly. I'm going to try to deal with the last of that unit. However, we can go back over here now and see how things are progressing. You can see we're just basically marching forward. And again, we really don't have much to fear in terms of actual skirmishers, because they used so much of their ammo when they were attacking the goblins. We don't really have to worry about putting our unshielded units on the front lines, because there's just nothing to actually shoot at them or anything. We've got some Mordor archers up here. Maybe they were taking some shots down here. Maybe not. Rearmark archers still here though, trying to do their bit, trying to fire wherever they can. Ooh, we've got some Numenos gate guards in here as well. And these guys, like I said, well, these guys actually haven't fought either. Some very elite pikemen. Some Mordor heavy maulers taking some losses here. Going to maybe get in a fight. They're moving. Maybe not. Oh, but actually back here as well, we've got the bodyguard of Rohan sneaking through this little crack here, going to be able to charge right into the Black Legion of Barad-dûr. We're going to try to turn around and countercharge, but unfortunately for the Mordor player, the first martial bodyguard is way too quick to be able to get caught by that. But again, and here is all the horse archers and all the rest of the cavalry of Rohan kind of being a little bit stagnant here, but again, they really can't do much. And I actually left my second unit of Warg Riders back here in the trees. They're actually hidden, as you can see, because I was hoping that the Rohan cavalry would go a little bit around this way, so then I'd maybe be able to charge into their rear with my Warg Riders, get a little bit of an ambush going there, but we'll have to see how that works out. Over here you can see the last of the Royal Court of House Amlaeth. There's only 14 left. Going to charge straight into the Moranon heavy maulers. You can see my wargs, unfortunately, pretty slow. Going to try to give chase, but unfortunately not really being able to do so very effectively. Royal Court actually wavering here. I'm going to, you can see I'm moving forward with my Goblin Trackers here. Going to try to get some shots off on some of the elites back there, as well as maybe into the Royal Court. But currently you can see, because there's no pikemen or spearmen over here, I can charge this front line with my Warg Riders, like pretty much if I want to, pretty much at all. So I'm going to do that right now. Going to try to take out some of these Minuscule Earthland archers here with my Warg Riders. Going to get a decent enough charge off. But there actually is, here's the Royal Court of House Amlaeth, 14 of them. Again, I outnumber them very badly, but again, because of all the fear-inspiring units around here, you can see my Warg Riders are actually thinking about routing. And that's down to these 2 units of Tharbad Warhammers, as well as 2 units of Dunedain Captains. Warg Riders at 50. I'm going to try to turn around here because there's no more footmen to support the Royal Court, so I'm going to try to turn around here and deal with the last of these 2 HP Lancers. And you can see I've also got my Goblin Trackers firing in here as well. Although there are some returning arrows, I believe from the, yes, the Minotaur Roman Guardians are causing quite a bit of damage to my Warg Riders. So I'm actually wavering here, so I'm going to try to pull them out, don't want to lose any more. And unfortunately, I was not able to kill that entire unit. I did take a decent amount of losses, mainly due to those crossbows, so definitely not the best trade. But over here, you can see the last of these Sons of Errol actually getting shot by my Goblin Trackers, and you can see a number of those sons actually getting cut down by those arrows, so again, very, very good. And again, we're just trying to weaken them as much as possible with our skirmishers before we actually get into the melee fight. You can see the Moranon archers themselves are also firing. I'm not quite sure what they're firing at. Hopefully some shock infantry, not something with shields, but they may actually be firing right here. They're actually firing right here at the Eastmark Axemen. Probably not the best target, because the Eastmark Axemen really aren't that scary in melee. And they've also got a shield, so they're going to be able to take arrows for a decent amount of time before going down. It's probably not the best target there, but again, it's not horrible. And again, there's nothing over here to prevent me from, to prevent my wargs from charging, so I'm going to go ahead and, again, try to take out some more forces. But again, my Warg Riders pretty poor morale, unfortunately, so they actually ended up routing there. And that was definitely a very, very bad loss. You can see, thankfully, they're going to be routing the correct way, so they will be returning to the battlefield. But again, that's a bunch of unfortunate losses there. Really not the best, although you can see a decent amount of these minuscules and archers were taken out. And there are only 6 Royal Court left, 8 Sons of Errol, and I think there's still the First Marshal's Bodyguard. Oh, but actually, yes, over here. If we can get over there quickly enough, you can see that the cavalry fight is kind of ensuing, because Rohan was also kind of losing a little bit of micro on the cav. There's, unfortunately, because he's also having to deal with his units over here, it is unfortunately quite easy to lose micro of his cav. You can see where we were able to actually catch out some of these Red Shield of Erkenbrand. We've just got a lot of units going around here. All of these, I believe they were the lighter Lancers, like just the lower tier Lancers were also caught out. Yes, these guys right here. The Riddermark Cavalry were caught out, lost about half the unit. And they are actually going to get behind Mordor's lines here and try to charge into these Troll Drummers, taking out 1 or 2 maybe, just 1. But again, they're not completely surrounded, so that's going to be the end of that unit of Riddermark Cavalry, unfortunately for Rohan. So yeah, just like that, Rohan is losing a lot of cavalry, and that's really, really not good. And see, they've still got the Red Shield, they've still got some Eastmark Horse Archers, some Eastmark Riders, and some Riders of the Fold, as well as their First Marshal's Bodyguard, but they are losing a lot of cav. Meanwhile, go ahead and see what else is going on. You can see, yeah, the Riddermark Cavalry getting cut down, but then, unfortunately for the evil factions, this cavalry was able to escape. There's only 20 men remaining, but they still have a chance of coming back, unfortunately for the evil forces, but it's a good thing, of course, for the good ones. Goblin trackers around here as well. You can see there's only 8 Sons of Arrow left still. You can see a lot of my War Riders dead here, unfortunately. Probably not the best move to rush them forward here. But I thought it was going to be fine because there weren't any spearmen around here or anything, but it was mainly the crossbows back there that were killing my wargs, unfortunately. And also because of these elites down here, it was actually causing a lot of morale. It was just causing a lot of morale issues with my wargs. And see over here, Rohan's actually got some infantry on this hill, surprisingly enough, and we're going to be worried about anything going around that way. Looks like those Riddermark cavalrymen are still routing, so maybe they won't return to the battlefield, actually. And yeah, the cavalry are going to stay a little bit further back now, not wanting to take any more losses, so they're going to wait for the opportune moment to once again get into the fight. My troll swords here, the Trolls of Angmar, and again, this is where we're basically just going to be trying to skirmish them down a little bit, trying to cause as much damage as possible, and then we will be rushing into the melee. And again, there's still some scary elites back here in terms of the Cardland forces, so it's going to be difficult, I think, to kind of break through this area here. We'll just have to see how that actually turns out, because it will be a little bit, because we still have ammo left over, so we're going to try to shoot them down a little bit. Unfortunately, we don't have any rangers, and Mordor doesn't have his AP archers either, so we've basically just got our orc and goblin archers to try to do whatever damage they can, really. You can see I'm going to be trying to target down some of these elite shock infantrymen. I mean, they've probably still got their hit points, unfortunately, but I'm just trying to cause as much damage as possible. And now that they're in loose formation, again, I'm not going to be able to cause a bunch of damage, but again, every little bit does count. There's some Hearthguard of Amon Sul here, the bodyguard unit of Engsfits. Marching forward, we're going to try to shoot down some units, probably aiming at my War Riders that are back there. Of course, they did return from routing. And yes, it does look like he's aiming for my War Riders, so I'm going to have to pull them into loose formation and retreat them a little bit further back. Sons of Arrow still taking some arrows as well. Because even 8 Sons of Arrow can cause dreadful casualties, especially with the lower tier units that have pretty poor morale. So even a rear charge from only 8 of these cavalrymen could cause a lot of routing among units like Angmar Marauders and even Angmar Halberds if they're charged in the rear. You can see we're going to be rushing forward here now because the cavalry is so far back. We're going to be able to rush forward here, and if we put all of our cavalry, like I said, on this side over here, we will have cavalry superiority, and we'll be able to just charge all the way around wherever we want. You can see I'm going to be rushing forward with my halberds first. The AP of these halberds will be able to do very, very well against pretty much this entire roster here. But they are going to be needing support, which is why I'm rushing forward 3 units of Angmar Marauders here. And I've got the rest of my infantry, all of my elites, and the higher tiers back here as well to give support when needed. Only 23 of those lancers remaining, unfortunately, for Mordor. Got my trolls around here as well. Going to try to use the trolls against units like the Dunedain captains, who will struggle against that because they're not AP. However, the Tharbad Warhammers I want to steer clear with my trolls, because the trolls will go down very quickly to the Tharbad Warhammers. But yeah, my halberds now getting back into their spear wall formation and going to begin attacking here. You can see they're taking some volleys from the Minotaur Roman Guardians, but unfortunately for the good forces, the good forces aren't going to be able to inflict too many on my orcs right away. The halberds, with the support of the Angmar Marauders, will be able to do a very, very good job against this heavily armored Cardolan force. So it's going to be difficult, I think, for Cardolan to be able to hold on to this for any length of time. But again, you can see they've got a lot of forces around here, so I mean, it may not be too hard. You can see they're also going to be committing some more units around here as well, and they've got all these elites. So again, it's still going to be kind of difficult, I think. Only 5 Sons of Errol remaining. And again, I've got my War Raiders around here, going to try to get a rear charge, maybe into these Minuscule Swordsmen. But unfortunately, again, this was, again, the wrong move, because I believe, yeah, they're going to rout again, probably. They're already shaken, they haven't even charged. Got a chance in there. Ooh, some nice, one really good catapult hit, but then unfortunately a good bit of friendly fire as well. Down here we've got some Dunedain captains rushing into the fray. And again, this is actually a really nice line. It's actually a really nice line battle. But yeah, I'm going to try to charge into the back lines here. Going to cause a decent amount of casualties, even rout those Arthedain marksmen. But again, I'm probably going to be getting caught here right now by the Dunedain captains. I'm going to try to rush out of there as quickly as possible. Melkor's Chosen, as well as the Númenóran Lancers back here as well. You can see the Lancers taking a lot of arrows, but going to be rushing straight for these Dunedain Rangers from Engsfits, as well as this catapult crew. Going to try to nullify those two very deadly units right away. Sons of Errol over here, as well as some Hearthguard of Amundsul, who are spearmen in melee. But here come the Melkor's Chosen as well. Melkor's Chosen charging straight into the back of those Hearthguard. Very, very good there from Eclipse. But again, he has to be careful because these are spearmen, so he does need to pull out of there as quickly as possible. Númenóran Lancers again trying to charge the catapult crew. And again, this line is starting to falter now from Cardolan. Just the sheer amount of Gundabad forces is proving to be very difficult to deal with. I've got my archers firing at these wardens in Turn Gorthad. Took out about 20 or so of them, still firing as well. Gonna try to commit my trolls around here as well, because most of these units won't be able to deal with them. Although, unfortunately, I believe there are both units of Tharbad Warhammers in here, so my trolls aren't going to be getting a ton of kills, unfortunately. However, over here, we've also got Mordor now attacking as well. He's got just a unit of more heavy maulers in here, and they're going to be doing okay against the Westmark infantry, but against the Numenor Gate Guards, they will not be able to break through. So he's going to have to commit some stuff that's a little bit sturdier, I think, in order to break through. But yeah, this line has not been broken through, so now I'll now be able to go into the next area. You can see I've got my Warg Riders, my second unit of Warg Riders, charging into the back of these Dunedain captains. Actually, they're thinking about routing, which is very, very good. Catapult still firing, thankfully not taking out too many of my forces. And I was able to actually get into these Minotaur Roman Guardians as well and stop them from firing, so again, very good. But over here, I've got another unit of Trolls just trying to break this formation, but again, with all of these AP Tharbad Warhammers, as well as now some AP Westmark Marshals, my Trolls are going to get cut down very, very quickly, unfortunately. You can see I'm also going to be committing a unit of Witchrealm Hammerguard in here. These guys will also be able to actually do very well against most of these Cardolan as well as Rohan forces. So I will be able to break through over time. I've also got the rest of my army marching forward here as well. A couple of Orc Fellows back there. And my Warg Riders, were thinking about riding for there for a second, but they were able to cut down most of these Dunedain captains. You can see, unfortunately, I had a lot of routing right there because of the catapult crew, as well as some dismounted Knights of Innuminos outflanking my forces, so some Arthedain forces in here as well. And unfortunately, I was trying to charge into the back of these pikes, but unfortunately they turned around right in time to kind of catch my Warg Riders out, but I was able to escape with most of the unit, thankfully. Yeah, Minotaur Roman Guardian's going to try to retreat here, going to be defending this hill, I believe. And again, now I've got my archers in here, going to try to surround these wardens of Turn Gorthad, who are actually pulling back, because now that they know that I'm starting to break through here, they're actually going to be kind of making kind of a ring around this little hill here. You can see the Rohan Cav moving around the flank around right now. And here we've got both units, I believe, of the Dismounted Knights of Innuminos. You can see all of my trolls are pretty much dead at the moment because of all this AP in here. But thankfully, a lot of the Tharbad Warhammers are now down. Same with the Dunedain captains, but there are still a decent amount of these Westmark Marshals in here. However, I do have the units to deal with them. I've got Halberds, I've got my Witchrealm Hammerguard, and you can see I've only got one troll left, so my trolls, unfortunately, used very poorly. That was not a fight they should have ever been in, really. And unfortunately, there goes the Mordor General, and that is because, if we can look at it, yes, you can see that Eclipse used his Melkor's Chosen to try to deal with the last of these Sons of Errol, but look, these Sons of Errol, something weird happened over here. We were all confused by it, because these Sons of Errol just absolutely butchered, even though there were only like 3 of the Sons left, they butchered the Melkor's Chosen. which is very unfortunate. But yeah, here comes the Rohan cavalry now, so we're going to have to be very careful of that. I've only got a few Warg Riders left, and that's really not good. But thankfully, you can see that was not good. There go all my Goblin trackers, as well as some Angmar Marauders probably. Yep, there go the Angmar Marauders. But thankfully, because most of this cavalry is just horse archers, they're not going to be particularly damaging. However, they still have a very bad effect in terms of actual morale to my troops. Over here, I'm still trying to break through. It's proving pretty difficult, but again, with my elites in here, I'll be able to break through eventually. It's really just a matter of time. And ooh, that was narrow. That was very, very close there. Ooh, it did take out a few of my Scourge Raiders as well as my what are they? The Guardians of Carn-dûm. But you can see it actually hit a number of the Dismounted Knights of Numenor as well, and they're actually thinking about routing. This unit, in fact, actually did route, and the other one will probably follow suit. Yeah, I can see they're kind of setting up their defensive ring of this hill here that we will have to attack next. And I've still got a decent amount of units left over as well as Mordor. Mordor, again, trying to break through this pike line, but really not doing super well. Those Maulers just getting poked to death by those gate guards, unfortunately. Be over here, it looks like these Knights of Numenor, Dismounted Knights of Numenor, down to only 21, going to be getting attacked pretty quickly here, or routing pretty quickly here, that is. I believe most of my wargs are dead. Yeah, I think all my wargs are dead, actually, so which is why I've got my pikemen here trying to protect these flanks from any cavalry. I've also got some spearmen in the back line as well to try to help out. And just trying to limit the cavalry from doing as much damage as possible. And surprisingly enough, we've actually got the Wardens of the North and the returning unit of Dismounted Knights of the Numenor come over here to fight against this blob, which is kind of interesting. Because they'd be better used supporting the lines back here. Because right here, they'll just end up getting surrounded and killed. Also, over here you can see, unfortunately, my halberds did rout, but I've still got 57 of the Witchhelm Hammer Guard. There's some archers coming here as well, so yeah, these Westmark Marshals and the Thunderbird Warhammers are pretty much gone by now. But back here, there's not a particularly strong defense. They've got one unit of Westmark Infantry as well as the Minotaur Roman Guardian Halberds. They've got a unit of the Ridmark Axemen as well as what's left of these Wardens. But again, this is not a particularly strong defense, which is why Arcturus is pulling back now with his Wardens of the North to try to help out in this defense here. You can see most of the Dismounted Knights are either routing or kind of too few numbers to really cause any damage. And here you can see, while I did leave a gap open in my lines here, it actually turned out okay because my spearmen are now going to be able to surround these Eastmark riders here, and my infantry is going to be able to turn around and cut down a few of them as well. And here come my pikemen as well. You can see this cavalry is not going to escape. They're actually routing, and thankfully for the evil forces, they're routing the complete wrong way. And so there goes that entire unit right there. And I'm now going to be beginning to now rush forward here and attack the next defensive position. And unfortunately, I am very, very blooded up here, but thankfully that was a near miss, so not taking out any of my troops. And again, I want to get right into the fight right away. I've only got 39 of this Hammer Guard left over. Still some units right over there fighting, but yeah, it's going to get straight into this fight. And again, I'm going to be able to win this infantry fight very, very easily, I would assume. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, but the overall infantry quality of mine is better than that of the defenders. However, just as I say it, there are some deadly units over here. We've got the crossbows, the Minister on Sharpshooters, firing straight over this hill and actually hitting some of my Angmar Marauders as well as some of my Hammer Guard here. I'm going to try to split my forces here and try to also attack this area here. And I'm also going to go ahead and commit my General's unit, the Witchhelm Blackguard. I'm going to commit as much as I can. I'm also going to actually be able to charge maybe into these Red Shield Reckoner with my spears. Nope, narrowly going to miss that. Catapult at 43 still. There's still the Hearthguard. I believe most of the Rangers are out of ammo, maybe? And over here you can see Mordor is now definitely committing more of his infantry to the fight. You can see he's trying to push through with his Black Legion of Barad-dûr, but again, because the choke points are so narrow, he's actually not able to do that super effectively. There's also the Awen's Shield Maidens here, and these guys have the perfect view and are just firing axe after axe into this blob of Mordor forces here, so a lot of Mordor forces going down. You can see Mordor actually has committed some units over on my side as well. Going to try to help out, and also you can see if he wants to, he could actually kind of outflank this street here and attack this blob of forces from two sides, which is why the marshals kind of went out of that fight to try to stop that, but looks like they're just going to go straight back in the fight anyway. Over here, the exact same thing happened. Yeah, these spearmen and pikemen are actually getting surrounded now by some Minas Morgul Chosen getting attacked from two sides. There's still the Meduseld Guard over here as well as some Westmark Spears. The Temple Executioners down to only 44, so they definitely took some skirmish losses. But they're going to be getting in the fight as well. And once these guys in the fight, everybody knows that these guys are super deadly in melee. But meanwhile, We've still got the Mordor forces over here. You can see the Dunedain Rangers trying to stop these Mordor infantry from surrounding the units over here. The Minas Griffin Sharpshooters still causing a lot of damage, but again, you can see I'm just slowly grinding my way through these infantry and Minotaur Roman Guardians here. Because I've got my heavier infantry in here now. My Guardians, still got my hammers in there. And I've just got some all-around better units in here. I also got my pikemen in here as well as some spears. And you can see over here, things are progressing even worse for the good forces. I've also got my Witcher Blackguard in there, haven't even taken a single loss. And back here I've got my spearmen to protect from any cavalry charges, because you can see there is cav back here. But again, because of all the chaos of the battle, Lengo was not, unfortunately, able to see that these Red Shield of Erkenbrand was getting attacked by the Olaghai. So the Olaghai are going to be able to butcher the Red Shield in melee over time. Here's some more Mordor forces going to be trying to help out wherever they can. And you can see there goes the Ridmark Axes, which is going to free up this entire portion of my forces to go after the Hearthguard of Emsul as well as the Catapult. And to also be able to maybe surround these units over here. And also we've got Mordor coming over here to silence these Minas Tirith Sharpshooters, who I assume are actually out of ammo. Because they didn't even try to stop this. But these guys are AP Macemen and melee, so they're actually going to be able to do very well against the Mordor infantry, especially with the advance of some Hearthguard of Emsul to help them out, as well as these Medusa Guard. But there is a lot of Mordor infantry overall. You can see, yeah, I'm just streaming my forces up this hill here, just trying to silence that catapult as quickly as possible. And yeah, these Minotaur Guardians are now broken and fighting to the death. And just like that, Gundabad, or Angmar rather, is going to be able to push forward here. And again, I'm going to be trying to help out in surrounding these Minas Tirith Sharpshooters. Awen Shieldmans are coming around here as well, but they're all out of ammo. Mordor infantry trying to surround this portion of the fight, but getting they're gonna really struggle, I think, against these Westmark Marshals. And also, you can see here in the center that Mordor actually was defeated. You can see the dismounted Fornost E-Ring Knights actually going to be going around the back here, trying to take out these Sauron's Will and the Minas Morgul Chosen. And again, Mordor not doing super great in all respects. You can see he's got his Orc Javelins, he's still got his Olaghai, Mordor Archers, but he's taking a lot of losses. But yeah, in here he's got his Temple Executioners, and the Executioners paired with even the Mordor Archers will be able to cut their way through those Westmark infantry. The Pikemen, though, that's a different matter entirely. So it's looking close. While it's looking pretty good over here, it's not really looking super great over there. For the evil force. So you can see I've got my units coming around to the flanks here as well now, trying to surround the Dunedain Rangers as well as these Minas Griffin Sharpshooters, trying to help out Mordor here in whatever way I can. And I'm also going to be sending some units over this way to help out as well. And then I will also be trying to send some units all the way around, you can see, all the way around this hill, to try and just flank these units from behind and maybe stop these Medusa Guard from firing, because the Medusa Guard are very good javelins. They're going to be able to cause a lot of damage to our troops, particularly on this flank here. So I'm going to be trying... Ooh, we can see the Awen Shieldmans actually do have a little bit of ammo left over. Firing right into my Witcher Pikemen, going to be able to cause a lot of damage. And I believe most of my hammers are dead at this time, but I still have like all of my Blackguard. Yeah, I haven't even taken a single loss to my Blackguard. But I believe most all of my hammers are dead. I might have like 1 or 2 left over. Actually, yeah, there's 3. There's 3 hammers in here fighting against the Minas Tirith Sharpshooters. And over here you can see the Hearthguard of Emsul trying to maybe outflank our forces, but they're actually not going to be able to do so because of my Orc Fellers that are also outflanking now. And again, so far been a close fight. You can see there's a little bit of cavalry out there, but again, it's just horse archers, so it's not going to be able to cause a big difference in the battle overall. Yeah, now the Awen Shieldmans are now committed into the melee. Over here we've got the Westmark Marshals doing a really good job against the Mordor infantry. Over here, though, we've got some more units from Mordor trying to help out and surround these dismounted Fornost E-Ring Knights. Minas Morgul Chosen surrounded on either side by spears and some shock infantry. Over here, you can see that the Executioners are kind of getting a little bit surrounded here, or actually kind of broken through. It's actually working out a little bit in favor of the Executioners, because it means that the new Musketeers actually haven't been able to kind of really set up in a good position here. And you can see here comes some Mordor Heavy Maulers and maybe even some Trolls. No, maybe not quite yet. There's some Halberds back there as well. But again, this fight is getting really close. You can see it's getting down pretty much to the wire now. You can see Minas Tirith Sharpshooters just getting pushed ever and ever back, or pushed slowly back now by more and more units from my army here. Medusa Guard being committed into the fight now, going to be trying to outflank our forces. And again, Orc Fellers, not super great, but they'll be able to do pretty decently against the Hearthguard. I've got my Spearmen back here as well, because you can see that there's actually some cavalry trying to rear charge. So I've got my Spearmen back here as well, trying to protect my infantry. And so my Blackguard also actually just kind of... I meant to send my Blackguard all the way around, but they actually ended up just kind of I didn't know you could actually just go straight through here anyway, so I mean, that works too. So basically I'm just going to be able to use these Blackguard to charge into the Hearthguard as well. But there is some First Marshal's Bodyguard here, and there's 16 of them left, so that's a fair amount. They're going to be able to get their AP Lances right into the back of these Mordor infantrymen here. However, there's Orc Javelins on the other side firing straight into the back of those Westmark Marshals, so that's probably going to be the end of those Marshals. You can see the Olaghai are trying to chase down the First Marshal's Bodyguard. There's still some more Horse Archers back there. And it's getting pretty bad, honestly. But with the advance of some more Mordor heavy maulers, looks like Arthdan is probably going to get broken down here at the end. Although there is still a decent amount of these Westmark Spearmen here. Most of these Sauron's Will and Minas Morgul Chosen is dead. There's some Mordor Archers here trying to deal with the dismounted Forest Ring Knights, but they're not really doing too hot. Yeah, these Javelins are just peppering these Marshals from behind. Going to be able to be enough probably to deal with them entirely. And we've got the Eastmark Horse Archers back here, but again, they can't really do much because there's spears in here, and they just really won't be able to get very much damage in. You can see there's actually some of the Mordor infantry here going to be able to charge straight into these Eastmark Horse Archers. And if the Horse Archers don't notice this, the Horse Archers will end up dying, although it looks like they are going to be able to pull out in time. And yeah, you can see these Hearthguard of Emondsul just getting absolutely butchered by the combined forces of some AP Fellers, the Elite Witcher and Blackguard, as well as some Spearmen that are the Gundabad Guard. So that's going to be the end of that unit there. But again, over here, looks like most of the Minas Tirith Sharpshooters dead, but there's still a decent amount of the Eowyn Shieldmains, as well as these Meduseld Guard in here. I wonder if my hammers are still alive. And there goes the Cardinal General. I do wonder if I have a... Oh, yeah, I think I still have 2 Hammer Guard in there. Alright. Well, look at that. And here we've actually got the Olaghai probably going to be committed into the melee pretty shortly here. You can see most of those Marshals are dead. The more infantry will be able to break through that in due time. The Orc Javelins are all out of ammo, but they probably have enough people to deal with the last of those Forestry Rain Knights. Not enough to deal with the Westmark Spearmen, but again, there's a bunch of Trolls in here as well to help out. And over here, we've still got the 7 First Marshal's Bodyguard charging into the rear of my lines, but at this point, it doesn't really matter, because at this point, we've kind of basically got enough to deal with what the defenders have remaining to them. So I've got my pikemen back here as well. And there's still some Horse Archers, like I said, charging in here and there, causing a little bit of damage, but again, it's not going to be enough in all honesty. Over here, we've still got the 4 Nazi Rain Knights, the Spearmen over here as well. The Troll Drummers constantly beating on their drums, and over here, Executioners still not doing super well. Those pikemen, their pikemen are really difficult to break through. But here comes some halberds maybe to help out as well. There's still those 10 Riddermark Archers. But yeah, here come the Olaghai. The Olaghai are going to be able to... Ooh, they're going to be really good at butchering their way through those Westmark Spearmen here. Spearmen are by no means good at dealing with the Trolls. But over here, Eastmark Horse Archers, again, still trying to charge into my flanks. I've got my spears in here, but unfortunately they're on the kind of opposite side that they need to be on. But again, it doesn't really matter that much. There's still 3 First Marshal's Bodyguard, one of which is actually still the General of Rohan. So that is the last General remaining to the good team. And the Cavalry is still charging around, and let's go around elsewhere. Looks like, ooh, the Mordor infantry that was flanking around, looks like that got completely taken out right there. But yeah, the Meduseld Guard now completely surrounded. They're going to be getting cut down. They're good in melee, but they're not good enough to deal with Blackguard, Gundabad Guard, and some more fellows as well. So they're going to be getting cut down. 10 Eastmark Horse Archers, 3 First Marshal's Bodyguard. There's still some 36 Riders of the Fold. More infantry going to try to countercharge them. And we've got the Olaghai running around after some of those poor Riddermark Archers. They've been fighting the whole time. But yeah, the Olaghai now going to be able to come back around here. But just as I say that, looks like the Numenos Gate Guards as well as the Westmark Spearmen actually ended up routing. So now Mordor will be able to stream through where he does need to be. And it looks like that is going to pretty much be it for the defense. There's only a few remaining Rohan forces to deal with. There's just these few cavalrymen as well as these Eowyn Shieldmains, and then that'll pretty much be it. Although, yeah, it looks like these Meduseld Guards still doing their bit. But yeah, they're going to be getting cut down pretty quickly here. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up now and see my Gundabad Guard going to be chasing after these Eastmark Horse Archers. They're going to be trying to just deal with that cavalry. And there goes the Rohan General. I believe the last of the bodyguard was, yeah, attacked here and caught by these Olaghai. So that's going to be the end, pretty much, of this replay. Well, no, these Eowyn Shieldmains, oh, never mind. I was going to say, the Shieldmains still to fight, but no, they just ended up routing. There's still some Riders of the Fold, but that's basically it. So I'll go ahead and speed it up now. Just the 6 times those units are just going to end up trying to do their bit, but they're just going to end up routing. And just like that, it'll be the end of this replay. It was really, really fun. And again, I think this one was made by Heath Horton. So yeah, that was very fun. And again, big thank you to all of the players involved because it was super, super fun. You can see Engsfit's getting 4,400 kills, Arcturus getting 3,300, Lango getting 3,000, and the attacker's not doing bad either. We can take a quick look at my exact kills, I guess. Witchron Blackguard actually getting 131 kills. Both of my trolls not really doing super great. My Gundabad Guard was pretty healthy there at the end, but again, their main job throughout that entire fight was just trying to ward off enemy cavalry. Hammer Guard getting 137, Guardians of Kryndu not doing too bad, and looks like 210 and 166 on my Angmar Halberds. So my Halberds doing really, really good. Yeah, looks like that'll pretty much be the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy it. And again, the Discord, the link to the Spawn of Sauron Discord where you can join scenarios like this will be down in the description below. So if you guys did enjoy it, please comment, like, and subscribe if you did. If you did not, just tell me what I did wrong, and I'll be sure to fix it for the next one. So farewell wherever you fare till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.